कैंसर से गंभीर रूप से ग्रस्त मरीजों के सपोर्ट में अपने जागरूकता अभियान के तहत तपस्या फाउंडेशन ने जाने माने भारतीय लाइफ कोच विवेक शेट्टी के एक प्रेरक और क्रांतिकारी व्याख्यान की मेज़बानी की। ये व्याख्यान मुख्य रूप से मन की शक्ति से बीमारी को ठीक करने, हीलिंग पावर ऑफ द ह्यूमन माइंड पर केंद्रित था। इस कार्यक्रम का आयोजन मुंबई में हुआ और इसमें कॉर्पोरेट जगत की दिग्गज हस्तियों, छात्रों, कैंसर सर्वाइवर्स और उनके परिवारों, स्वास्थ्य के प्रति उत्साही लोगों और कई तरह के लोगों की भागीदारी देखने को मिली। इन प्रमुख हस्तियों में पद्मश्री उदय विश्वनाथ देशपांडे और फिल्म निर्माता और एल्डेप्स इमेजिका के संस्थापक मनमोहन शेट्टी भी शामिल थे।
Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, and this wonderful audience this evening, Namaskara to one and all. The members of the Tapasya Foundation, a big Namaskara to all of you also, and your entire team. Namaskara is the Anjali Mudra in yoga. And when we bring our hands together in this fashion, with the tips of our fingers touching each other, we raise the level of receptivity within us. We raise the level of joy within us. We also raise the level of focus and awareness within us. This is the profound secret of the traditional Indian Namaskara. And I don't know how many of you really noticed, but even the Italian Prime Minister, what's her name? Somebody said it, yes. Giorgia Meloni, yeah, she also used the Namaskara in her recent world meet. That was an interesting and refreshing thing to note. So on the auspicious note of Namaskara, I'm going to try and bring a smile on your faces this evening, lift the spirits, and give you some real life inspiring stories related to the subject on hand, which will probably change your perspective towards life forever, which may probably change the way you think about life forever. So let me begin by expressing my profound gratitude to the distinguished members of Tapasya, N.V. Shetty in particular, for taking the initiative to invite me this evening and share my thoughts on this very wonderful occasion, which I think will be a path-breaking movement in the years to come. And we are committed to this movement. We are committed to the idea behind this movement. So my first humorous story for the evening, hopefully it will bring a smile on your face. There was a speaker who was addressing a large gathering in the West. He had an audience of about 1,000, 2,000 people in front of him. And he was speaking like me on subjects pertaining to the science of spirituality. So in our education system and in our training system and in every other system that we have in the world, they teach you about IQ, intelligence quotient. They teach you about PQ, physical quotient. They teach you about EQ, emotional quotient a little bit, not the entire distance. But they never teach you about SQ, which is the most important quotient, and that is your spiritual quotient. So this speaker was addressing this aspect of spiritual quotient, and suddenly a very curious gentleman in the audience raised his hand. He wanted to ask a question. And when the speaker paused, the gentleman from the audience who raised his hand, he asked the question. He said, "Sir, I've been listening to you for 1 hour. And I think, after listening to you very carefully, I think you're an atheist." All of us know atheist is somebody who does not believe in God. So he told him, "I think you're an atheist." The speaker responded by telling him, I was an atheist until I realized I'm God. I was an atheist until I realized I am God. Now the gentleman from the audience got very angry. He named all the gods he was praying to. And he said, "Sir, so you are suggesting that we should stop praying to all these gods that we are praying to, and you are the living, talking, walking God in front of us, so we should actually be praying to you. This is what you're indirectly suggesting." The speaker again responded by telling the gentleman, there is a divinity within every human being. There is a divinity within every human being. There is a divinity within me. I never deny the divinity of any human being, and I never deny myself my own divinity. So this evening, I'm going to appeal to the divinity within each one of you on the dais and in the audience. Yeah? So on that auspicious note, we'll begin. I'm going to give you some information which may be radical in nature, which may be transformative in nature, pertaining to cancer. So let me begin with the study of Dr. Bruce Lipton. Dr. Bruce Lipton was a cell biologist. Now this information may change your life forever when it comes to prevention of diseases at large, including cancer. Dr. Bruce Lipton did a very interesting experiment. He took cells from the same source. Same source means genetically from the same source. They all have the same DNA. And he split them into 3 distinct sets. He put them in 3 distinct bowls. In every bowl, there was a liquid, a different liquid in each bowl. In one bowl, when he put the cells, after some time, that cells became fat. In another bowl, the same cells became muscle. In a third bowl, the same cells became bone. What was different in each bowl? The nature of the medium, the nature of the liquid. What we call the culture medium in scientific and medical terms. Now, here is a path-breaking information that you all can use. We all have cancer cells inside our body. In fact, I may not be surprised if we have more than 10 types of cancer cells within our body. Every human being has it. But here is the key information when it comes to prevention of diseases at large and when it also comes to prevention of cancer. The activity of the cell depends on the environment which you provide the cell. The activity of the cell depends on the environment which you provide the cell. And who is providing the environment? Who is providing the environment? You. How? Largely, one major factor is your mind. The more serious you become in life, the hospital is close by. Yeah? Serious people go to hospital very often. Life is all about play. Even if you refer to Lord Krishna, forget Baba Vivek Shetty, keep him aside. But even if you read about Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever Lord Krishna was written about, they wrote Krishna Leela. Leela means play. They never wrote Krishna Charita. Charita in Sanskrit means story. So the first thing is, if your mind is stressed, you are creating the wrong environment for your cells. And the trouble with our system again is, education system, training system, any kind of system anywhere in the world. I do consciousness modules. I have some highly qualified people with a long list of degrees in my training modules who are participants in our modules. All due respect to them, I'm not running anybody down. I'm saying it's a systemic problem, it's not an individual problem. What is the systemic problem? In large audiences, when I've gone to the most reputed educational institutions, the topmost universities, the topmost management I've addressed from top corporate companies and multinationals, one fundamental question usually goes unanswered. And what is that question? That question is, what is the difference between brain and mind? Nobody teaches you what is mind. So how are you going to determine what is the environment that your mind is providing to your cell? So the education system, the training system does not teach you what is mind. I am studying nuclear physics. Who is the I? Are you body? Are you mind? Who are you? I am studying rocket science. Who is the I? And every experience in your life is relative to the I. And from birth till death, from the womb to the tomb, you don't know what's the mind. Every decision is taken by the mind, but we don't know what is the mind. Today I'm going to give you one insight into mind, and you will probably remember this for the rest of your life, the way I choose to convey it to you. There are bulbs here. The bulb is the hardware. Bulb is not light, light is not bulb. Bulb is hardware. Light is an example or a metaphor for mind. So, similarly, you have your laptop, which is the hardware. You have softwares. Unless you have the right softwares, the most high-end laptop that you may buy at a fancy price is useless. So mind determines the environment you create for your body. For example, right now I'm in this function, many speakers have spoken, and I may get a little restless. When is my turn coming? When is my turn coming? When the hell will this guy stop? When do I go finish my job and go home? Oops. I've become restless. What's happening? Stress has gone up. I'm frowning. If you look at our generation today, it's a restless generation. We have invested lakhs of rupees in our business, lakhs of rupees in our education to become restless. And don't forget, we consider ourselves the most brilliant species on the planet. Human beings are the most brilliant. And I'll give you an example of this brilliance. Yeah, तो हिंदी में वो गजल है, सीने में जलन आंखों में तूफान सा क्यों है, सीने में जलन आंखों में तूफान सा क्यों है, इस शहर में हर शख्स परेशान सा क्यों है. The minister is restless when he goes to bed at night. The CEO is restless when he goes to bed at night. The sanitation worker and the toilet cleaner is also restless when he goes to bed at night. It has got nothing to do with money, power and position. It has got nothing whatsoever to do with money, power and position. We have invested lakhs of rupees in our training to become restless. It's a restless generation. Yeah? So my first clue is, take charge of your mind for prevention of diseases. 80% of the diseases that people suffer from today are psychosomatic in nature. Disease produced by the mind for the body. Disease by the people, for the people, of the people. It's not just democracy by the people, for the people, of the people. It is also disease by the people, for the people, of the people. Yeah? So the first clue is mind. The second inspiring story that I'm going to give you this evening, and hopefully it will inspire you. I don't know how many of you all have heard of Ramana Maharishi. You've heard of Ramana Maharishi. Great. Dr. Ganpati, your name itself has spiritual quotient. No surprises that you heard of Ramana Maharishi. So Ramana Maharishi was a saint. And if you Google Ramana Maharishi as I'm speaking to you, you'll get everything about him. He died of cancer. But there was one remarkable aspect about Ramana Maharishi. When Ramana Maharishi was in stage 4, and we are, the final stage as we call it, doctors were visiting Ramana Maharishi, and they were surprised. Unlike other patients, this man always had a smile on his face. Always smiling. He took the doctors completely by surprise. So, one curious doctor asked Ramana Maharishi, "Sir, What is it about you? You have no pain? I'm sure you have pain. But why are you always smiling? Ramana Maharishi gave a very profound reply, which was actually the message of his life. Ramana Maharishi said, I have stopped believing in body consciousness long back. I know I am not body. Since 40 years, 45 years, I have stopped believing I am body. When I know I am not body, my attention is never towards my body. My focus is never towards my body. What you focus on is where your attention goes. Now, this brings us to the ancient Indian science. Ramana Maharishi didn't say this, but I'm connecting this to the secrets of Indian yoga and Indian science. What is that secret? There is a science in Indian yoga called Pratyahara. Pratyahara means you practice withdrawing your external sensory organs from the world. So a simple way of doing this in the morning could be, you could sit in silence for 15 minutes with your mobile phones switched off, because that is the biggest noise maker these days in our lives. Yeah. And without the mobile phone, probably, we again become restless. So in my training modules, you all may be surprised. I have CEOs in my training modules. You know what is the toughest thing for CEOs to do? They have a very sharp mind. Calculations like this, predictions like this, analysis like this, all other things like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. But if I tell them, gentlemen, please sit quietly for 10 minutes. That is tough. Relaxing is tough. Because they've been fidgeting all day around. This, that, like this, like this. They're going on and on and on and on. This phone, that meeting, that conference, this calculation, this presentation. Oh my God. And we think we are doing something fantastic. Economic activity has destroyed 50% of the planet. But human beings think they are doing something fantastic. This is the tragedy of the comedy. In 3,000 years, we fought approximately 4,500 wars. Lessons learned, 0. So I'm going to keep the mic down for a minute. I want you to rub your hands like this. All of you all, if you can, rub as hard as you can without hurting yourself. Keep rubbing. Keep rubbing, keep rubbing, keep rubbing, keep rubbing. Smile on your face. Smile on your face. Keep rubbing, keep rubbing. Now, gently bring your hands apart. Gently. Very gently bring it apart. Can you feel the space between your two hands? What happened is, I expanded your consciousness just this bit so that you can feel the space within your two hands. That space within your two hands is not a part of your body, but temporarily you feel like it's a part of you. So this is called expanding consciousness. I've taken a lot of your time this evening, and once again I express my gratitude to NBNR and all the distinguished dignitaries on the dais for bearing with me so patiently during this address. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Vivek Shetty sir. Your energetic and motivational speech. Thank you, sir.